Here we have an example of a drug dose source data file. Again, the columns have all been populated and the study head, the column names don't have spaces between the words. Here, the start date is day, month and year, and the end date is day, month and year. Therefore, when these are populated, the aggregation function date assembler date day first must be selected. If start time is required to be added, then this can be mapped alongside start date in the start date field as start date, comma, space, start time, with the required aggregation function date assembler day first for date format. To populate the final mandatory patient information file, dose information, again, select the drug program from the Admin UI homepage. Select the study dataset you want to add the mappings to. Click Edit. Again, from the Clinical Study Setup page, select Create Mappings to Source Data. You can now see that the summary table has been populated with demography and patient visit schedule information. Click Add. Select our data type, drug dose information. We will enter the file path manually. Again, the file is stored on Azure, so we'll start with Azure File, React, Data, and then the folder names. And the file name. Followed by .csv. Uncheck Predict Column Mappings and click OK. This now presents the drug dose information mapping table. As you can see, that this table is quite comprehensive. There's a lot of data there that you can build your visualization out with. There are 6 mandatory fields that need to be entered. So to begin with, in the drug dose, we will just populate our mandatory fields. So again, in the source data column, map the source data column. As we have added drug dose, we will also add the units, even though that isn't a mandatory field. And finally, the mandatory field is start, date, time of the dose schedule. Here, to begin with, we'll just enter the start date. If we also wanted to enter the start time, we can do that by, as we explained earlier, comma, and then selecting the data column name for time, and that will populate the database field with both those fields, or you could choose to use an aggregation function and use a concatenate function. So we've now entered all the 6 mandatory fields, and we've also entered dose unit, which was a non-mandatory field. As before, click Confirm, click Save. The pop-up appears to say that the mappings have been successful. Click OK. This completes the mandatory patient file information, and you can see now that drug dose is also populated in the summary mapping summary table. Just a note here that the mandatory files can be populated in any order. They don't have to be populated demography, visit and dose. but the data is only loaded once all three mandatory fields have been mapped. Also to say that the mandatory fields can all be mapped in one go. You don't need to go out into Admin UI again and start again. You can just keep clicking add until all the information is added. Now that we've mapped the drug dose source file to the drug dose mapping table in Admin UI, this shows the Admin UI table alongside a table which gives some more details on the data field, the description of each data field so that you can easily identify which source column in your data file should be populated against the data field, whether or not it's mandatory, and what type of data needs to be entered into the data field, whether this is a text, number, requirement.